All right, good evening, and we're back again. It's another Wednesday here in Houghton, New York, at HC Highlanders Live. Um, Director of Athletics Matthew Webb, along with Jason Muker, joining you here from our homes, not together, separate homes, a couple hundred yards away. We hope you are having a good time with your family and getting the work done you need to, as we're in these uncertain times as they continue to keep us working from home. Great episode tonight. We have a men's soccer alum, Ernie Walton, joining us. Before we get there, I just want to share a few news updates. Last week, we had the honor and privilege of inducting Lori Wynn, class of 92, into our Houghton Hall of Honor. We did a Zoom interview, read her induction. She got to provide some comments. About 76 people zoomed in and were able to just reminisce with Lori and what she meant to Houghton Athletics, Geneva Athletics, where she worked. We had some of her colleagues and former players from there, a lot of former teammates, family, friends. And sadly, Lori passed away the very next day. And so we send out condolences to her mom, Judy. And we just, once again, it was great to reminisce with her and that she was able to participate in that before passing away. So we definitely want to remember Lori at this time. Other three inductees into our Hall of Honor will come probably in similar formats later in the summer. Zoom interviews, we'll let people know about those as they come closer. Typically, we've done those as part of our spring banquet. Our spring athletics banquet, we recognize our seniors, look back at the year and all the accomplishments, pass the baton from the seniors on to the juniors and the other underclassmen, and we have a Hall of Honor induction. That's not happening this year, but we are presenting tomorrow at 7 o'clock on YouTube and on Facebook, a pre-recorded virtual banquet, no food involved, but so we have some speeches from our seniors, recognition of seniors, student athlete excellence awards, and so we hope you can join in tomorrow at this time, right here at Facebook and also at YouTube. Right now, I'm going to turn it over to Matt Webb, who's going to talk to you a little bit and introduce tonight's guest.
Yeah, I have a thought for you tonight, leadership related, which is a real interest of mine. One other thing I want to announce that Jason didn't say, but was just announced today, just put out our press release. We have entered into a contract with our retail provider, AdPro, big company in Buffalo. They service the Bills and the Sabres and so forth. But in addition to that, we've already had that relationship. We've contracted with Adidas to be an Adidas only institution. And so that's pretty exciting. And a lot of our coaches and teams have been spreading that out on social media today. So that's just something exciting that's happened that we're looking forward to. And I just want to reiterate, the Hall of Honor induction of Lori Wynn was a special time. It really was special. It was probably the best depiction I've seen in a long time of what it means to be a team. And the significance of being a member of the Houghton Athletic Department on one of the teams was just evidence during that time of people coming together and sharing together and celebrating Lori during her induction. Just want to share with you just a little leadership image, if you will. It's called The Wisdom of Wolves, and it may be something you're familiar with. It's something that my daughter actually shared with me, and it's a depiction of what leadership really is. And so if you can picture a pack of wolves in a line, moving together in a line, maybe 20, 30 wolves. The three in the front are old and sick. They walk in the front to set the pace of the running group, lest they get left behind. The next five in line are the strongest and the best. They are tasked to protect the front side if there's an attack. The pack in the middle are always protected from any attack, either from the front or behind. The five behind them are also among the strongest and best, and they are tasked to protect the backside if there's an attack. The last one is the leader. He ensures that no one is left behind. He keeps the pack unified and on the same path. He is always ready to run in any direction to protect and serves as the bodyguard to the entire group. just in case y'all wanted to know what it really means to be a leader. So just wanted to share that with you as we get into tonight. Tonight's guest is a special treat for me. I've shared before of all the players that I've had the privilege of coaching. There's one class in particular that will always be special because they're the only class that was the first class that I had when I came in. So Ernie Walton tonight is a member of that class. He was a freshman my first year as the head coach of the men's soccer team. And so I had the privilege of coaching. My first 4 years of coaching were Ernie's years of playing. Ernie obviously has graduated from Houghton and now works at Regent University in Virginia Beach, Virginia. He's the director of social justice, the social justice program. He's a lawyer, professor at the institution. And it's my privilege to introduce you to Ernie tonight. And we're going to catch up a little bit, probably reminisce a little about our time when Ernie was a member of the men's soccer program. And so, Ernie, just going to start off by welcoming you. Thanks for being here. And I wonder if we can just start by you giving us a brief summary, maybe of your time at Houghton and your experience having been a member of the men's soccer team.
Yeah, thanks, Coach Webb. It is truly an honor to see your face and be back and asked to do this show. I am just so fond of Houghton and particularly you and what you meant to my life and growing me as a leader. I love to hear you still talking about leadership and what the influence you had on my life as a man of God, as a leader, right? And learning what is leadership and what does it mean to be a Christian leader, a servant leader, and just so honored to be here. So thanks again for this privilege. I don't really remember the question, but I'm so thrilled to just be here. And so why don't you restate it and I'll jump in.
Well, maybe summarize your 4 years playing soccer here, and you know, what did that mean being part of the team for you? Maybe you answered it a little bit, but just a brief summary of your memory of your 4 years being part of the men's soccer program.
Yeah, that's a great question. If I can think of one word to say, I'd probably say transformative, right? That those 4 years, were transformational in my life in so many ways. Of course, having the community of brothers, right? There's nothing that can compare to having fellowship with Christian men, pursuing a common goal of academic and, of course, athletic excellence, working together, suffering through running and running the ski hill and pushing the 2-minute, the 12-minute 2 mile every year, but working together for common goals. It transformed me, right? Teaching perseverance and valuable spiritual lessons. I loved it. It was just an incredible 4 years to grow together. I mean, and soccer was such a big part. That's really why I went to Houghton College, right? Was the soccer program and the prestige that it is, but the commitment to Christ. And I had a great education, right? It so prepared me for what I'm doing now, and I can jump into that more. But yeah, transformational, spiritually, character-wise, and just couldn't be a better 4 years for what I could ask in a college experience, developing me as a whole person, as a man of God, and of course enjoying playing soccer with my brothers and for Coach Webb.
Well, I want to get into maybe how your experience at Houghton and part of the soccer piece of that being maybe part of that, but obviously there's a whole lot more to a Houghton experience than just the sport, but sort of how that's prepared you to take you sort of where you are now. But maybe share with us if you can think of a favorite memory or two from your 4 years. I have some that I can think of. One of them is like you not dying in practice from getting wrecked by teammates. I remember the heated debates on the bus, often revolving around playing euchre. But for you, what are some of your? In fact, our family's all at home now, and that's become just about every day we're playing euchre, and we don't play steal the deal. You're not allowed to do that in our house. But anyhow,
house rules. You can ban it if you want. Yeah.
What are some of your fondest? Maybe a couple highlights that just come to mind as you think back.
No, I love that question. There's so many to think of, and again, often they revolve around the soccer team. And then the first one that comes to mind is beating Roberts Wesleyan at home my senior year. I had a tough, coming back from injuries, and certainly was somewhat disappointing in my career. But I remember the game that I played tough and played defensively, right? And I was pushed by you and Shilke, right, when I came in as a freshman, who who was pretty soft on defense and didn't have a lot of grit and toughness as far as that side of the ball. And, to play a good game and be satisfied that I played to the best of my ability to beat Roberts at home was a very, very satisfying moment right at the end of the season, getting to the playoffs. But you've already mentioned so many of the other good memories. Just, again, the community, playing euchre on the bus with the guys and arguing and joking. I do remember the instance, and I think it was my freshman year. One of my best friends, he still is one of my best buddies and brothers in Christ, but he had quite the temper. And he just came in late after the play, indoor soccer, right, and just cleaned me out. I mean, some of the guys I remember chewed him out pretty good, thinking, man, we just took out Ernie for the season based on that tackle. But the Lord spared me, right? And anyway, it was, there's so many good memories. I think the Roberts one jumps out to me because of what it meant to me in my career personally. And of course, beating Roberts Wesleyan should stand out every time to any Houghton alumni. But that's probably what I'd say.
That's awesome, Ernie. Why don't you share a little bit? You talked a little bit earlier maybe about why you chose Houghton. The Christian education, the soccer was a big draw. But I'd be interested in hearing from you sort of what you're doing now, what your path has been since Houghton. I mean, I know you're now at Regent, you're in Virginia Beach, got a family. My brother's watching this online, and they're another Houghton alum, fellow alum. He resonates with always good to beat Roberts. That's great. And there's my son. My son's downstairs watching the game. I used to be his ball. So there you go. You remember Bjorn being a ball boy on the sideline.
Absolutely, Bjorn. Proud of you, man. It's great to see you.
Why don't you talk a little bit what your journey's been since Houghton and sort of how you've ended to where you are now? I know you've got a bit of an interesting story in terms of pursuing law and how the Lord has called you to that. But what's taken you from Houghton to where you are now at Regent?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the biggest thing Houghton did, right, just developing my spiritual life and hearing from the Lord and seeking his will above all else. Coach Webb, you're a huge part of that, and all the professors at Houghton. But, it wasn't really until I wanted to be a missionary. I wanted to play soccer overseas, some random country where maybe I could play second, first division and spread the gospel. And I wanted to work for Push the Rock. I went on many missions trips, playing soccer and evangelizing, and of course with Houghton as well, going to the Czech Republic. And what could be better than spreading the gospel and playing soccer? And I was pretty set on this. And there was numerous people, including some of my professors, including my roommate, Tyler Haggerty, including my father, who kept telling me to go to law school. And I kept saying, no, why would I ever do this crazy idea of going 3 years of law school? And so it wasn't really until my, the summer before my senior year where the Lord was just like, hey, you're walking in disobedience. And by God's grace was able to obey. And the Lord really used this idea of human rights law, right? Being a voice for the voiceless, protecting, the innocent, those who have no voice, and seeing in scripture God's heart for justice, to fight human trafficking, to speak up for unborn children, for the persecuted church all over the world, for women and children who have no voice, no rights. And I could kind of see how law and my heart for missions could merge. And I got excited about it and ultimately ended up at Regent University School of Law, the best law school in the entire country. And, the Lord took me there, and it was a great 3 years, much like, Houghton, with a great Christian community, great education, and ultimately, prepared me well for what I'm doing now. It was a little bit crazy because I had a dream job offer with the European Center for Law and Justice. If you know the ACLJ and J Seculo, their office in France, doing a lot of work to defend, religious liberty in Europe, and thinking, man, this is a great job. But I met a girl at Regent, and the Lord had different plans. So for 2 years, we went to California and practiced law. Like, what is this crazy? I'm in California as a normal, everyday lawyer. And it was a great 2 years. But what the Lord really used to open the door and bring me to my career now is this job that I still do. Thankfully, Regent started a human rights center, right? A center at Regent Law School that would fight human trafficking and do all the work that I really was passionate about. And they needed a director. And so I prayed about it with my wife. The Lord made it very clear. So we moved back across the country from California to Regent, in 2013. And now I've been at Regent Law for 7 years. I'm still the director of the Regent Law Center for Global Justice and get to do great work with many organizations like International Justice Mission and others like them, doing, supporting them with pro bono legal work and training our students to do this work. I've added a few jobs as well. I'm a professor and teach a few business law classes, and I'm also the dean of admissions, so I get to recruit for Regent Law. It keeps me busy, but it's a great variety that I really enjoy doing. But obviously, particularly passionate about the Center for Global Justice, as that's what the Lord, called me to do back at Houghton, and He's brought me full circle to where I've been doing that work for about 7 years now.
That's awesome, Ernie. And hearing you talk about Regent, I'm a fellow alum, not of the law school, but that's where I got my doctorate. And I remember going down there those years that I was doing the residency, and the facilities at Regent are beautiful. It's obviously an awesome place, and I was actually looking forward to coming down. We were supposed to have the NCCAA National Convention was going to be at Regent this year, and that's been canceled at this point, like many things have. So I won't be down in your neck of the woods at the end of May like I was hoping to be. But no, it's encouraging to hear you following the Lord, and I think probably a lot of people can resonate with fighting, maybe resisting the Lord's call in a particular area for a variety of reasons, but knowing that you followed that passion and that giftedness that God's given you to never ever lose an argument. So that lawyer inside of you is something that you've been gifted with, and it makes me proud as your former coach, to know that you followed the Lord. Tell us about your family. I know you're married. You've got 2 kids or 3 kids now?
2 kids, yes, sir.
2.
Yeah, my wife is amazing. She loves the Lord. Is just an incredible wife and mother. Great lawyer. I met her at Regent Law School, and she always will say, Ernie might win an argument, in spoken word, but you give me the pen. She's a great writer, an outstanding legal writer. And, so we've got a great marriage, and thankful for her and her partnership in raising our children to know and to love the Lord. And we've got 2 little kids. They are homeschooled. Caleb is just about 6, and he loves playing soccer and playing tennis and playing basketball, playing sports, and certainly enjoys a good argument. I'm already seeing how much I'm going to be in trouble as well. And then our daughter is 3. Her name is Evangeline. We call her Little Evie. And she is a delight, having a little girl. It's melts your heart, right, as a father. And I didn't have any sisters, so it's sometimes trouble.
Well, listen, they grow up fast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like this, and they're the age of my kids, into college or past college, and it goes fast.
It's tough to believe. You said your twins, Tobias and Levi. I remember teaching them. I started freshman year teaching Sunday school for 2-year-olds, and I taught your boys, I think, all 4 years at Houghton Wesley, at the church. And now you say they're ready to go to college. It's tough to process.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's fun to watch them grow up and follow the Lord, and that's
Amen.
a blessing. And all of our kids have gone to Houghton, and we'd have been happy for them to go somewhere else if that's where the Lord had called. But it sure is nice to have been able to follow their careers. All my older daughters both played soccer. One of them also played basketball, and Bjorn did soccer and tennis, and that's Tobias and Levi's plan as well. So it's just sort of fun to watch them grow.
Amen.
So how has, you're at home, you're working from home. Everybody's working from home these days, just about. What's that been like for you? What's been the impact on sort of your work at Regent? Are you teaching online, recruiting? Doing a lot of recruiting online, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's I only teach in the fall, so I didn't have any teaching responsibilities in the spring because of admissions. So I just have the Center for Global Justice and admissions this spring, and it's certainly been challenging. I mean, so much of what my job is students come visit Regent, and of course, seeing the community, meeting the professors, feeling the Holy Spirit right on the campus is such a big draw. And so that's been certainly a challenge. I have one of the only few people with permission to go on campus, and I've been doing virtual tours through FaceTime or whatever way I can do it to show people the law school and talk to them. And so we're adjusting. It's certainly been a challenge, and the Lord will provide the class we need. And thankful to have one of our own Houghton coming next fall, and to Regent Law School. But yeah, it's been a challenge for sure to recruit in this season when I can't sit down face to face with all these students and show them the Regent Law campus. But and then with the Center for Global Justice, doing Zoom meetings with the students and going over their legal projects. We just finished a project up for ADF International India, fighting sex selective abortion in that nation. And students did a great work product. We just sent it off this morning, actually, in an ADF. They're a great organization, Christian legal organization, fighting for religious liberty for the persecuted church and for unborn children in India. And anyway, it's gratifying to continue to be able to do that work, even sitting here in Virginia Beach, knowing that we're still having an impact, hopefully, on upholding fundamental human rights in the nation of India and other places all over the world.
Well, that's awesome, Ernie. Thanks for joining us tonight. This is sort of short and sweet. It's fun to sort of catch up like this. I think back to those years where basically I was cutting my teeth on what it meant to be a head coach. I'd been around soccer obviously quite a while and as an assistant, but it's definitely a different role moving into being a head coach. And you and Tyler and Kendall and Josiah, Gent came into that mix. Who else was in that class? Steve Woolsey, I think, was in that class. Is that right?
Yeah. Josiah. Am I missing
someone?
Josiah.
You guys, and in fact, I just talked to Josiah just last week, and so haven't heard from some of the others for a while. But it's good to catch up with you, and thanks for letting me cut my teeth and learn how to be a coach on you guys. It was a privilege, and as my wife, I can speak for my wife and I both. We love all the guys that played for us, and we loved you guys and still do. And it's just really fun to see you following the Lord and raising kids in that same way. And it's just really special. This has been a treat for me.
Hey, man, Coach, I love you, man. If anyone's watching, Coach Webb is incredible, right? He's a great soccer coach. He knows the game well, but he loves his players, right? There's nothing more important than that, than a man who actually invests in his players spiritually. I remember studying Proverbs 12, right? And what does it mean to be a man of God? I still have a book you gave me about studying the word, Coach Webb. It's sitting on my shelf. And so I can't thank you enough for the impact you've had on me, right? And the word, of course, commands us to honor our leaders, sir. And I honor you as a great mentor and example for me about what does it mean to be a godly husband, a godly father, a leader in your profession and serve the Lord. And just honored to be a part of Houghton. And it's so good to think back and connect again. And so if anyone's watching who's thinking about going to Houghton College, you couldn't make a better choice to go to this great school and play for Coach Webb and all the great athletics that they have. It's just an amazing place and great academics, right? I got a great education. I mean that. I was so prepared for law school. I'm going off on a tangent here, but law school is not easy. But my economics degree, business degree from Ken Bates and Robert Black and many of the other professors, I think some of them are still there. The political science professors, Peter Mylander, so many great professors who prepared me well for a rigorous degree and becoming a lawyer. So Houghton is incredible.
Well, thank you, Ernie, and I appreciate your kind words. Maybe just one last thing, that comment about preparing you for law school. We have another former soccer player, came through the program at a different time than you, but went on to medical school. And so obviously different field, but I remember him saying at one point that when he went to medical school was easier than Houghton. And I don't know much about science. I'm not a biology guy, but that to me, that seems a little backwards. Like, why is medical school so easy? And I don't think he was saying that it was easy, but just the idea that he was prepared so well.
He was prepared well
for his, vocation and for schooling beyond Houghton. And so I think that's probably a pretty consistent thing across, a lot of our academic disciplines. So Ernie, man, it's great. It's great to see you. Blessings on you and your wife and your kids. And we will keep in touch for sure. Thanks for being here tonight.
Love you, Coach.
Man.
Take care,
Thanks,
everybody.
Ernie. Love you too, man. Bye.
Bye.